I don't think I hate anything, but I guess my pet irritation is those that put their head in the sand in a gigantic bucket and think if I stay here, then everything will be fine and I won't have to face the consequences. But I have to tell them their head's in the sand, their bum's still in the air, and the tornado's coming. And if they want to lift their head, they could avoid it. If they stay there, it's going to hit. The truth is that so much which is called conspiracy theory is actually conspiracy fact. Not all of it, but enough to show that the people that run the world are not the ones the news media tell us do. They look at the world, they know there's something not right. There's something that's not the way they want it to be, and they feel uneasy about it. But they try to placate those fears, not by facing them, but by trying to find a way of making them disappear with words like, oh no, we would never allow a police state. Not in America, no, never allow a police state. Britain, never allow a police state. Wonder if they said that in Germany just a few decades ago. We'd never allow a dictatorship in Germany. We're a land of freedom. And look what happened. In a few short years, they had a grotesque dictatorship. And that's how fast it can come. From the Weimar Republic to the Nazi dictatorship in Germany by Hitler and company was a few years, not even a few decades. And the greatest weapon of any dictator is to divert attention from the people. So they're looking the other way and allowing the dictatorship to be built and imposed and all the infrastructure put in place. So by the time they absolutely have to face reality, it's all there. It's all done. What you see with people is that they're desperate to hear what they want to hear. And they're desperate for people to say, oh, no, these conspiracy theorists, they're all crazy, you know, they're all paranoid. It's not really going on. It's ridiculous. And this is done to protect you. This is done for you. You know, we're the government. We care for you. This is why we're doing it. So you go to sleep, you know, watch the telly. There's a game on in a minute, and you'll be fine. And we're just going to build another concentration camp. Okay, see you later. And what we need to do is stop this self-indulgence of picking up what we want to hear and trying to get ourselves to believe it. There's not a problem here. And actually look it in the face and realize that, if anything, George Orwell understated what we are heading towards unless we step up en masse and say enough, no more. Where's their power? Their power is in the people saying, oh, well, I don't like it, but it's the law, and so we better obey it. You know, okay, we've had a discussion, and we've decided we're going to introduce a law today where we're going to take our children, your children from you, okay, and we're going to put them in a national education centre, and we're going to control them, and maybe you can see them twice a year, okay? We're passing the legislation this afternoon. Would you accept that? Would parents accept that? What would they do? They'd stand up and say, we're not having this. So there is a point then where people en masse will say enough. It's just a case of when are we going to say that? Are we going to say it now, while we still have some time to bring an end to this nonsense, or are we going to start saying we're not having that at the point when they're introducing legislation to take our children away? And by then, people, brave people who've stood up and been counted in the years before, while the others just look the other way, they're actually not going to be around to speak on behalf of the people having their children taken away. So, are we going to make a stand now and draw a line in the sand and say here and no further, in fact we're going to roll this back? Or are we going to wait until it's got really, really extreme, by which time there'll be so much infrastructure in place that drawing a line in the sand will be a serious challenge? And it's no good. I said to some policemen in Parliament Square a few months ago, ask yourself, when your child says to you, Mummy and Daddy, what were you doing when the police state was introduced? Oh, well, I was watching the telly, honey. Or in the policeman's case, I was helping to introduce it, dear. That's the situation we're facing. And you know, if people don't like it, well, they just have to do the other thing, because this is how it is. And we either face it now, or we face it a little bit further along the road, when if we think it's not very good now, it'll be a bloody nightmare by then. It's time to lift the arse off the sofa and bring an end to this nonsense, because otherwise we're just building our own prison cell or sitting around.
It's me, 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 me. Well, that's fine, but one day I say to these people, me, me, me is going to knock on your door, and you're going to realize that reality dawns, and you're going to realize the world that by your silence, when you had the opportunity, you have allowed to unfold for the later years of your life and for most of the life of your kids and all the life of your grandkids.
I'm sorry that I'm struggling to find words, because words fail me. The idea that governments, with their record, have the interests of the people at heart. Anyone who believes that is basically a lost cause in terms of understanding what's happening in the world. And I'll just leave them to get on with it. And when the knock comes on their door, don't call me.